Now, hello.
Okay.
We are with episode 64. It's Tech Topic. I'm Nina. I'm with Peggy and Bob, and we are giving you 3 tips in 10 minutes. First goes Bob today.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a really good weekend so far. Hey, I found a really cool podcast on YouTube from Ezra Klein, who interviewed Rebecca Winthrop, who's a director of universal education at the Brookings Institute. And it was all about educating kids in the age of AI. Now, the key themes and the ideas behind this podcast were that there's profound challenges and potential opportunities facing education in the era of this generative AI. In particular, this is a really interesting fact. Student engagement. 2/3 of students are not engaged in learning. This is what Rebecca Winthrop found out, and that's from her book, The Disengaged Teen, Helping Kids Learn Better, Feel Better, Live Better. And of course, what is the purpose of schooling, and what are the skills that are going to be necessary for an uncertain future? How do you educate if you don't know what you need to know? So there is a concern about, in center to that is that there's another statistic that's really scary. Reading habits. 40% of 12th graders ask about this, haven't read a single book for fun. Now imagine that. 40% of 12th graders haven't read a single book for fun. And of course, that course impacts academic performance. So obviously, AI has emerged as a tool that can mimic or replace traditional tasks or work. Remember, in recent times, people worked as machines, via an assembly line. And now machines in the form of AI are working like us. They're taking over the assembly line. So the fundamental question now is what should education be? It used to be virtue, where we were taught, what is beauty, humanity versus training. How do I make a house or whatever, and how do we prepare young people for this rapidly changing world? The answers should come from these questions. What is the purpose of education? How do we learn, and what is to be learned? And the focus should be shifting from rote learning and knowledge transmission to fostering engagement, adaptability, critical thinking, and unique human capacities. And part of the solutions that they offer in the podcast, that there should be a shift in teaching approaches, teachers, and the way teachers teach and the way students learn. And most importantly, there should be a focus on finding a spark for students that will help them actually be more motivated. And there's a high correlation between motivation and success. Teachers' roles need to be redefined. Instead of maybe teaching in a traditional sense, teachers will manage AI tutors, facilitate human interaction, and address social and emotional needs.
Okay.
Oh, and schools. Now they're thinking schools should become rare screen-free oases. That means no devices at all, so that the kids can truly reflect, make meaning, speak, listen better. And of course, we want students to reflect on the ethical underpinnings of technology. So sorry that was really quick and it really didn't do justice. I suggest there will be a link to go to that YouTube URL and actually watch that podcast. It's very fascinating, thought-provoking, might help you understand what your kids are all about and help them go into the future.
Thank you, Bob. This is a very profound change all societies and humankind are going through, and it concerns each of us and everybody globally. So it's the future, and teachers are not getting any ready recipes or material how to go through these difficult changes, and really profound thoughts. Thank you so much. And Peggy, what's your tip this week?
Thank you, Nina and Bob. That was interesting to think about the education. I'm going to give a practical tip this week. YouTube just introduced upvoting and downvoting on videos in playlists, and I'm going to show you how to change those settings. Let's see. So why upvote and downvote in playlists? The example that YouTube gave is you have a playlist of music for a party, and you let your party guests upvote and downvote, and then you have a playlist where the top songs people want to hear are at the top, but you can use this on any playlist. This is just an example from my channel. It's a bunch of videos that were April Fool's Day jokes. You can upvote them and downvote them. On desktop, you have to go to the playlist edit page that looks like this and click the edit pencil. Now, just a side note, to get to that page, if you're in YouTube Studio and you open the playlist, you have to click the three-dot menu icon and select Edit on YouTube. Or if you are on your channel page, you have to click View Full Playlist. That will get you to the correct playlist page with the settings that I'm talking about. So you click the Edit pencil. I'll note that there are multiple edit pencils on the playlist page, but the one you want is right there with the plus and the share icon. And then you can change the voting setting. So you can turn it off so no one can vote. You can set it to everyone so anyone can vote, or you can set it to collaborators only. So only people who are specifically collaborating on that playlist can upvote and downvote videos. I will note that the default is that if you have a collaborative playlist, voting is turned on and limited to collaborators. So check your playlist settings if that's something you want to change. And then in your playlist settings, you can change the way the playlist is sorted so that it's in top voted view. That means that the playlist, the order of videos will reshuffle as people upvote and downvote on the videos, so that the ones that are most upvoted are at the top and the ones that are downvoted are down at the bottom. So you can, this is on desktop. You can also set this up in the YouTube mobile app. It has similar settings there. You can do it wherever you're the most comfortable. So that's my tip for today.
Thank you, Peggy. This is a great, significant change, and I believe it will change also the indexing of the videos. So all who are watching, check the links and check our roundup article for the how-to steps to do this. My tip this week is about a story I learned at Google Cloud in my home city, Sofia, this week. This is the presentation of Stanford's team for the event. The team presented sustainability practice by Google, where Google would not only cool the system from the heat of cool the servers using the ocean water, but they will recover the heat and give it to 2,000 local residents in a Finnish community. That launched last year, is now in effect in Finland. And like Bob, I'm thinking large scale and the big picture of the AI game-changing influence across industries and economy, where AI is not only to be consumed, but it is a big consumer of energy. Therefore, my tip is to be cautious when selecting solutions and count on Google's sustainability report. Check it for 2024. It was, by the way, AI and notebook LM generated. The whole report was delivered by the artificial intelligence genuine to Google, and of course it's checked for accuracy, and the authors were quite satisfied. And I don't know if we have a few more minutes to watch the part where let's watch together about the cooling of servers and giving heat to residents.
When we started back in 2011, the challenge was to cool down the servers. But then we found a creative solution. Seawater, just pump it in from the bay. And then we have our heat recovery initiative. Data center creates a significant amount of heat as a byproduct. At Hamina, we have been recovering it for almost a decade now. But then we want to do more.
We have long wanted to channel our recovered heat off-site and to be used by the local communities. After years of extensive work, we are finally able to put our dream into reality right here in Hamina. Finding the right off-taker is crucial. That's why we're delighted to partner with Hamina Energia to share our recovered heat to the local heating network.
That's totally cool.
Yes, so I hope you are inspired by this solution. It's specific to Finland, and Google has the sustainability page. It's linked below the video in our roundup article. Check it for the complete data about these policies. So when you book Google Workspace subscription plans, you can not just have a startup project, but you can plan for a certain period of time, not bothering about what resources will change. Of course, I just received price increase from my domain, Squarespace. This is changing, but at least it's not going to be, as I mentioned before we started, playing for one question with one agent, artificial intelligence agent, and then not be able to continue. So plan your resources. And thank you for watching. Next week, we have the appointment schedule with our special guest, Priya Chandra, that is a Google Diamond product expert. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.